Hi, welcome back. Today we are talking about red flags and why we ignore them. So I just did a series on red flags, listed a bunch of them out, 10 of them to be exact. Today we're going to do a deeper dive into why we ignore them, which is very common. You've had friends who are dating people and you're like, oh, I don't know, there's some red flags there. They totally ignore them. They keep going. And then you've done the same thing. I'm sure you've had friends that are like, I'm not sure about this guy, that guy. You keep dating them anyway, even though you feel them too. I've done the same thing. So today we are going to go over sort of some of the mundane reasons why we do this, what's happening in the manifested world. And then we are going to go into more of an esoteric, mystical reason as to why we ignore red flags. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to share a screen with you. I put together a little slideshow. So when warning signs aren't enough, why we ignore red flags. Here's a little sad guy. Okay, so the first one, emotions can cloud judgment, okay? So when we're attracted to someone, it's easy to overlook or rationalize behaviors or traits that would otherwise be considered red flags. This is why when you can see it in your friends' dates, but you can't see it in your own dates, right? Attraction can make us more forgiving or understanding, which can sometimes lead us to ignore warning signs. So this comes from our wounding as well. Depending on our previous experience, we bring that with us when we're dating. So, and when we feel attracted, then we kind of lose our sense of self, right? We just jump into something because we want something to happen. So emotions can be very tricky, but emotions are also what you're looking for when you're dating. You want to feel a little something, something. So this is where people often say, my picker is broke, but we can dive into that as well. Also, lack of self-awareness. So you may not be fully aware of your own needs and boundaries, making it difficult to identify when those needs and boundaries are being violated by a potential partner. Without a clear sense of what we want and don't want in a relationship, it's challenging to recognize when a red flag appears. So it is so important to be very clear on what is important to you. And especially when those emotions start flowing, you almost need to check in with yourself to be sure that what is showing up in your potential partner and your date is something that you feel you can deal with, because look, we're all just healing. That's what relationship is about. Or something that maybe you need to pass on. And listening to friends or having a dating coach or a therapist or somebody that you trust to kind of be outside of yourself is so important when you're dating. Social pressure. So there's social pressure to be in partnership, especially for women. Oftentimes we base our self-worth on whether we are single or in relationship. So this leads to a tendency to overlook red flags. Also, we may feel we need to settle or compromise on certain traits or behaviors in order to avoid being alone. So if we've been out there dating for a while, and we have this story in our head that everybody's married and their lives are better, or everybody's in partnership, or everybody's starting to have children, or whatever it is we tell ourselves, and that we are not good enough because we are single, that can create an issue for getting into relationships with partners that might not be the best for us. So again, having somebody outside of ourselves to kind of help and listen, and not letting our own desperation feed the monster, right? Okay. Desire for relationship. So this is similar to what I was just saying. Desire for relationship can also make it hard to spot red flags. You may be willing to overlook warning signs because you don't want to be alone, or because you are afraid of losing the person you are dating. So yes, we all want to be in relationship. It feels good. It can feel good. But it's worth waiting for the right person. That's what I can tell you about that. Scarcity. So this is another issue that people have, like the mindset of scarcity. So when we've been dating for a long time and have found few people we are attracted to, it's easy to get into a scarcity mindset. This feeling of lack will keep us from seeing the truth or the red flags of the other person, and the fact that their values and morals may not align with ours. And so this again goes into that feeding of emotion, right? We start getting the feels, we catch feels, and then we presuppose, like we almost project onto the person what we want them to be. And then there becomes a gap between who they are and who we want them to be. And that's what kind of keeps us going, even when we're seeing the red flags. The truth is, when somebody tells you who they are, they don't lie. And that is exactly who they are. So this idea you're going to change somebody, I know women who they'll meet a man and the man's like, I do not want to have children. And the woman will think, oh, I bet you I can change his mind, and then they don't, because the man seriously does not want to have children. So then they have to break up and start over again. So that's one example of just, morals and values not aligning. Lack of experience. Now, this is an interesting one because we aren't taught how to date in school. For some of us, dating is a new experience. Oftentimes, we just hope we meet the right person and confuse chemistry as the right person. So without a baseline for what's a healthy relationship, it can be difficult to recognize when something is amiss. What's a healthy relationship, right? That's like a whole deep dive into something else. Healthy relationships have rarely been mirrored in our lives. And the idea that chemistry is the right person, that goes back to the emotions. Like when we start getting the feels for somebody, or we start, getting aroused, just in a good way, like our feelings are up and everything. We can easily confuse that with the right person, especially if we have the scarcity mindset. It's really easy to get lost in all of that. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the esoteric or mystical part of ignoring red flags. What I mean by this is that even though you know the red flags, and let's say you've done a lot of work on yourself, like, you've been single for a while, you are just now going out and starting to date, and you feel like you kind of have all your stuff together. And then you meet somebody, you catch feels, your friends are like, I don't know. You kind of are like, I don't know. But you still dive in. And I've seen this happen with clients. And when I first started coaching, I really felt like I could help my clients avoid certain lessons, right? Like if I just said, this doesn't look, I'm seeing red flags, red cones, all the things, they'll be able to just not do that. But I've been coaching for 12 years. And what I've realized is that people need to have certain lessons. And in the intensive, which is a weekend workshop that I do, I like to think about it as a video game, right? So when you start playing a video game, I don't play video games, but this is just what I know about video games, is you're not going to get the bigger boss right away. You're going to get smaller bosses, right? And then as you come to know yourself and you get tools and you get superpowers and all the things, then you get the bigger boss. Now, so for some women, the bigger boss is actually the relationship. Because if you are dating, and if you've been dating for a long time or a little bit of time, there is a reason why you're not in relationship. There are lessons for you to learn, for you to be in the right relationship. And so I am very much about giving my clients all the space they need to date and to share my insight with them. It varies from person to it's such a soul journey. And that's why it's a little esoteric, because everybody's journey is very different. And I know that in our minds, and this goes back to the social pressure, there is an age and a time that we are supposed to hit certain marks, right? Like get married at a certain time, have kids at a certain time. And if we're not doing that, we feel like we're failing, but we're not failing. We're just really living our own journey. So if you find that you are in a relationship or you have started dating somebody and there's red flags there that you're kind of ignoring, I say give yourself some grace. I have dated a few men that were super red flags, and I came out stronger, healthier, able to be in relationship. There were lessons, there were certain skills I needed to learn by dating them. And I came out more vulnerable as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that you will have grace for yourself going through the dating process. And yes, if there are red flags and you need to get out, get out. If there are red flags, but you are still learning a lesson, then you will know when it is time to get out. Do not judge yourself harshly. Like, just be kind to yourself and love yourself and have grace for yourself. Okay? Until next time, I don't know what my next video is going to be on. It could be on boundaries. It could be on, oh, I don't know. If you have an idea or you want me to talk about something, you just let me know. You can leave a comment or you can find me on Facebook. You can schedule a 15-minute chat with me if you would like to work with me. Other than that, have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful day.